In today's Twin Flames Redefined series, we're going to talk about redefining the Divine Masculine's role in this collective journey and 4 things that the Divine Feminine can do in order to help hold space to tip the scale. Let's go! Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Harmony. I'm a twin flame expert helping twin flames around the globe phase fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Welcome to my weekly Glow Show. Today in this Twin Flames Redefined series, we're going to talk about the collective energy of the Divine Masculine energy as well as the perception of the collective Divine Feminine, so that we can bring some harmony to this. And in this redefining series that I'm doing is how can we collectively tip the scale for the energy of the Divine Masculine now that we have done so already for the Divine Feminine as a whole. So first, let's talk about what the collective means. The collective energy is really the median, and I'm going to use the Divine Masculine energy in this particular case. It's the energy of every Divine Masculine that might range in energy from the very narcissistic to the ones that have fully awakened, that maybe potentially have a twin flame that also they might be running from them, and anything and everything in between. But the median of that would be the neutrality point between the negative and the positive sides of anything. So if we have some of the twin flame Divine Masculine, or any Divine Masculine for that matter, that is coming into this collective scale on this lower vibrational energy, we also have just as many coming into the higher vibrational energy. And then when you put that on a scale of the low vibration to the high vibration, we create this neutral point, the neutrality point, the point of neutralization that's the median, that's the mean average of the whole. The work that I do tends to be this median range based on what I do in the personal work I do and the clients that I see, the message I deliver here, as you know. But the reason I want to point that out is because not everyone that maybe sees this video is going to have a Divine Masculine in the median. Some may be higher vibration, some may be lower. And we want to account for all of them, of course. But what the goal is here is that if enough of the Divine Feminine can come in and change their perception of the Divine Masculine and their viewpoint of what we've been known up to date, that now between this perception and harmonizing the masculine and the feminine energies, we can help tip the scale for the Divine Masculine. And this is my concept of redefining the twin flame journey, and the series is all about doing so. And so what we've done is we've, as the collective Divine Feminine, we have went up in enlightenment and we have raised our vibration as the Divine Masculine has held the karmic load, kept and stayed in the shadows, anchored that energy while the feminine is finding that light, and that's giving the opposite end of the polarities, okay? And the goal then is to find the neutrality and the balance in that for the collective and for our personal selves, and within ourselves to be also within our twin flame dynamic. And so if we want to tip that scale, several things have to take place that I'm going to share with you today. 4 things that the Divine Feminine can do to help support and change their perception of the Divine Masculine, so that if enough of us hold space for this, we can help the Divine Masculine come into the bigger awakening that everyone's waiting for. Because I got to tell you, I am working with a lot of divine masculine. 1/3 of my client base now is divine masculine. And these are not all divine masculine that are on the higher vibrational scale. Some of them are. Some of them are just getting their wake up, and some of them are kind of in between. And in addition to that, I am seeing divine feminine that are coming to me that are harmonizing with their divine masculine and role reversing, this role reversal of what I'm saying between polarities here of the lower and higher vibration, how they're coming together into neutrality with them harmonizing that with their beloved. And to do that, then basically they're having to do work on themselves, but then I'm getting to help them harmonize in 3D with their beloved. And so it could either be them with themselves, them with their higher selves of their beloved, or in a 3D of the beloved. And I'm seeing all of those, as well as speaking and working with 1/3 of my clients now being a divine masculine. And I've been in so many personal situations over the last 2 years of several types of connections that have brought in, I've been calling it like scientific experiments that has given me information, knowledge, and wisdom through not only just my own twin flame and twin flame journey, but with divine masculine, and even being put in a divine masculine role to know and feel what it feels like to be one of the divine masculine, in order for me to take that with my divine guidance and create these blueprints that's part of my mission to help deliver, to help the collective make these shifts. So today I want to share with you some of the wisdom and things that have been, I woke up with this at 6 a.m. I knew that I was going to be, delivering a Twin Flames Redefined series video, but I thought it was going to be giving you the information for the Twin Flame Ascension phases today. And it came through as a whole different message, from a complete sleep to stuff just what I'm about to share with you, funneling out of me, that, I took some notes of what it was, and I was like, okay, it's time to go straight to the divine masculine. And I got to tell you, I know why, because what I'm seeing with every one of these scenarios I'm working with, they're all waking up, and they're not, I shouldn't even say they're waking up, they're awake. They are awake, and more of them are awake than what the divine feminine is giving them credit for. And it's time to hold the space now to help them come on up, which is going to take the divine feminine coming down out of that light a little bit, coming back down into the 3D, letting go of certain things in order to create the space into that neutrality point of their higher vibration and the divine masculine being lower. It's going to need to, the divine feminine need to bring that down a little bit to give the space for the divine masculine to come up. And then they're also having to be able to anchor that energy and as a whole, we need to support the divine masculine more, because they have really, in this, where I'm talking about this redefining who they are, they've really taken a bad rap from the bigger perspective of this, when we got to get back to the basics of what this journey is about, and that what their role was as the divine masculine, and finding the gift in that. It took the divine masculine to do their part for us as the divine feminine to find ourselves and see the gift in that. And if you're not seeing the gift in that, then you need to do some more personal work on yourself to find that neutrality within you, so that you can then shift your own inner polarity between all of this and finding the gift in your other half, so that you can then be a portion of holding this space for this collective work. And if you have, say, a divine masculine that's on out of the median, the best way you can help your divine masculine is come into this median work and idea and concept. And if you can't send the good vibes to your own beloved based on where they've left you or what's going on or the pain or the experience, and you can't get over it, then at least put some positive energy into the collective group and all the masculine, so it will help support your masculine in the process. Because as we know, the more this whole ascension's been about collective work, and the more we do it ourselves, the more that we change the consciousness of all that is. And so that's why I was shown this whole series to begin with. And so anyway, the divine masculine then kind of taken like a point back at looking at their role and even how they're really still feeling, before I get into the 4 things that you can do for the divine feminine to hold space for them to do this, would be that, you know, the feeling, the unworthy, the not feeling good enough, and feeling broken and so emotionally emasculated. They've chosen to carry that toxic side of the love and that chemical connection and attraction to what a lot of people are considering, you know, the karmic partners and the addictive personalities and things like that they've been carrying. So in that, keeping in mind that they've been clearing a lot of that toxicity, and in the process, they've put their own desires at the greatest degree. Now, it might, like to you on the outside, look like they're happy and look like they're in love, or look like they're connected to, like, say, someone that, you know, that might be toxic for them. But you have to remember that they're with that person to complete a contract, and that that person is giving them something that you couldn't do as the higher vibrational partner, to teach them what they need to do to find themselves. So if we have collectively as the divine feminine found ourselves, what I'm really saying here in redefining this masculine role for the divine masculine here is they're now trying to find themselves, find the deepest portion of them, find who they are. And, you know, here is where they see themselves not being equal to us up here. And even though they're awake, they don't believe in themselves to be worthy enough to be like in our light. And being in our light still so high and such a high vibration, it just really illuminates their shadows to where it's pulling out more of that unworthiness, where they need to like bite-size this so that they can learn how to layer this like we did as the feminine. And that way that can build them up and it can make them feel more worthy, because to continue to get into the light is going to continue to pull out them not being worthy. And it's a little bit too much for them to have all at once. And so basically then, I guess, you know, the key I just really wanted to hit home in that is in this work that I'm doing with all of what I said to you, they're really ready to find their true selves. And this is already happening. And I would say we're close enough that the divine masculine is hitting this point of, like, say in my work of being like 33%, a third of that. So a third, I would rank that on the collective divine and masculine as a whole, that a third of the divine masculine are coming into the not just being awakened, but the concept and the idea that they want to find more of themselves. In fact, that's part of why they're not even wanting to be in relationships, and they're not even wanting to be able to go from all these toxic relationships straight to the divine feminine of the higher vibration. They can't. They have to find themselves, and they have to go through this process in a way that they can own that light for themselves. And that in the process of that, it can be very confusing too for the divine feminine to hold this space, because as the divine feminine, we've kind of taught ourselves the opposite of what I'm kind of saying here. We've learned to be the doer and the fixer and the past, we were the doer and the fixer in the past, and we've learned to let that go. And it's like, okay, you know, I'm going to let that divine masculine go and let him figure it out. And the thing is, enough of them has awakened that they want it, but they don't know how to do it now. And now is the time to hold a little light on their path so that they can finish their role reversal inside, and that they can come on across the bridge to finding their highest version of them, and enough of them doing it to the point it's going to tip this whole consciousness, and everybody wants reunion, and this is how we're going to do it, and this is how the collective divine masculine and divine feminine are coming into neutrality and harmonizing, which is doing it in the dynamics of the individual, basically reunions and unions of the true divine like twin flame love that we've all been waiting for. So the divine feminines really need to let go of the past and the stories and the pain and the programming, and even maybe the programming that, as I said, you've been taught. It's now time to shift it, and being able to, you've held place for deserving respect, and to know that it's you own that worth now. Okay, so it's not that you're going backwards. You're just holding the space, allowing the divine masculine to catch up to you at the same token. So it's testing the divine feminine, the trust aspect now. So the 4 things that you can do as a divine feminine to hold space for the divine masculine is, the first one is perception. You need to change your perception about the divine masculine as a whole, and you need to be giving them more credit for the idea, as I said, they have held the energy and anchored it, and they have held you to you finding you, and they have basically held that space for you to find you, or you would not have let go of your codependencies, abandonment, and all of those parts that you chose as the divine feminine to carry out in this load. They've given you the space to do that. Now holding space for them to find themselves, not run to you yet, but holding the space to let them find themselves so that they can feel worthy of the love, because the love you have to give them, they can't fully receive right now because they don't know how to receive that. And they feel like they're alone out there, and they think there's something wrong with them, and there's not. And this is a collective thing that I'm seeing, and I'm reassuring them all the time. And I even have some of the divine masculine that are stepping into purpose, and they're seeing that, they're telling me, their twin is here, and they're seeing that they need to come up to that light, and they're not realizing and that feminine needs to come down a little bit either. So I'm showing them how this harmony is working. The second part of this is power. So the divine masculine, to get the power, so the divine feminine need to change their perception about the divine masculine as a whole and give them more credit. So the second part of this is, we gained our power, and our inner power and empowerment and owning our worth and holding that space is giving the opportunity for the divine masculine then to learn to now take back their power and own their worth. And to do that, they've been emotionally emasculated by mothers and toxic relationships. And this is by them taking and finding themselves, they need to get their power. And you need to hold your power, but give them credit and see them, the ability that they have to gain their power. And stop seeing them as this limited person that's never going to get it, that isn't doing the work. Because they are doing their part in this, and they just need to find their own power, no different than the divine feminine did. So stay in your own power, but see in your perception that the divine masculine are only doing what they're doing to get their power so that they can get their worth, and they can then feel worthy of the love that you want to give them. The third thing is purpose. So the divine feminine, I've said this over and over and over, that if you have a purpose you've not been stepping into, that your divine masculine is going to hold you accountable for finding your purpose, not only finding yourself, but finding your purpose, in order for them to come in and also support and be a part of this. In this, when I talk divine masculine and divine feminine, I want you to realize that I'm also in this redefining the labels as divine masculine, divine feminine versus twin flame or not twin flame, or which one or what type. because the bottom line is it's going to be your highest vibrational match in this spectrum. And the higher you keep your vibration, the more it will raise them up. But keeping in mind that you can't screw up a sacred contract, and that this is also divinely orchestrated at the alignment of the divine masculine to come in for you to be doing this. Now, I'm personally seeing this, and I'm also seeing this with clients where divine masculine's coming back in and going through this harmonization on these roles and reversing the roles and the inner polarities in order to change dynamics. And as I said, in purpose, then that means this is the divine masculine are also out there believing in them that they do have a purpose and they have a mission that they want to do as well. Now, with that being said, the divine feminine, many of them don't even think the divine masculines have woken up enough yet, where they just don't know how to get and find themselves, nor how to get into purpose, even though they know they have one. But what's keeping them stuck from fully finding themselves and getting into their purpose is a lot of them are, the breadwinners, or, they have children and finding their way to be able to make this transition and this leap between their life of where they are and where they know that their heart is being pulled to. But they do know that they have a purpose. They just don't know how to get to the purpose or align with the purpose. So as the divine feminine, if you can't do it, then how also are they going to do that? Because there's a lot of divine feminine that still have not aligned with their purpose because they don't know how. So if you've been doing a lot of personal work, then it's time to start taking the next step in this process and keeping your focus and your power within your purpose right now, which will help shift the consciousness of the purpose for everyone. As you can work towards your purpose, that's also now your inner masculine taking some action to direct you towards your purpose, because we're supposed to be a little bit more action oriented in this calming down the higher vibration and implementing more of this in the 3D and the human standpoint of this. That's going to help the divine masculine do the same thing, because it's your inner divine masculine that is doing that particular part of the process that's going to help tip the scale for the divine masculine. As you also do that, you're becoming more creative as the divine feminine. And as you become more creative as the divine feminine and you step into your femininity and you open the space for your receptivity, you are giving your dynamic within your own role, as well as your own dynamic of your beloved partner, to come in to be the masculine in the new role as a masculine, not the feminine that they're trying to tip their scale to be fully into their masculine, is part of what I'm saying here too. So that you are tipping your scale, it's opening the space to bring them in to match you in your roles as you harmonize, coming down that ladder a little as they come up the ladder, and then your roles are reversing between your inner polarities at the same time. The fourth one is praise. The divine masculine, there's a lot of things that could be said, and there's a lot of things being said, and if you just go out there and you just hear just the general information out there, it's bashing the divine masculine. If we are doing that as a whole and as a collective, how can we ever expect them to find their worth and discover who they are? And we need to stop judging them as a whole. Everyone needs to stop judging that, because they're doing what they need to do to find themselves. And if you're still relying upon them for your happiness and you haven't owned your power, you still have inner work to do, meaning you're not ready for it yet anyway, but to keep doing your inner work. But as a divine feminine, especially if you're coming up in your power and you're coming into the higher vibrational side and you're trying to harmonize yourself and bring your polarity and your dynamic into harmony, we need to be lifting them up. And keep in mind, This is the whole, the collective. There's going to be a lot of people that think, so they're narcissists, we shouldn't be lifting them up. But you got to remember, this is unconditional love. And their whole, like in the big spectrum of that collective, it takes the narcissist with the saint, basically, to have all that is in the spectrum of all of the energy. And that will always exist, from the negative polarities to the positive polarities. So some people in the spectrum signed up for the low vibration, some signed up for the higher, and some signed up for everything in between. And as a collective, we're shifting all of this into neutrality to equal out, to at least come to some kind of equal. But to come to equal means there'll always still be negative, there'll always still be positive, meaning not every dynamic of a twin flame dynamic is meant to fully come into the full harmonization, because you're carrying different parts of the full spectrum. So wherever that person is holding that space, we need to be praising them and seeing the gift for what they're doing, and not bashing or judging them for doing something wrong, which is continuing to send out collectively that lack of worth, that lack of them feeling good enough. And then that in a whole is going to pull that collective energy down and block everyone from experiencing that. And I also got to say something too. A couple years ago, I talked about the divine masculine was the sacrifice for the divine feminine, and it was being shown it was through the blood of the lamb and the blood of Christ. Basically, the blood of the lamb is the blood of Christ, and how the divine masculine were basically sacrificing their inner peace and their happiness for the divine feminine to find themselves. That was a beautiful gift as a whole. It is time that we, as the divine feminine, step up, stand up, praise these divine masculine for having helped us collectively get here, and help see them across the finish line. It is just part of our human nature and our unconditional love that we signed up to do. And if you're not at a place you can see the gift of all of this, go back and do some of your own inner work to get to this place of what I'm saying. And this is how we can collectively redefine what the divine masculine's roles are, so we can give them all, the praise and the power, and let them align with their purpose, and we can change our perception as a whole, so we can all experience divine love and the fullest embodiment of the true nature of source love. That when we find ourselves and align to source, we will find our beloveds in that source space, because that's where it exists. And in source space is shadow and light and all it is. So awesome. I'm super excited about this Twin Flames Redefined series. Please let me know what you think. Give me any feedback, anything you'd like to hear as I transition through this redefining series that is going to continue to progress. Make sure you like, comment, share the shine, subscribe, and hit the notification button so that you'll know whenever my videos are going live. And may you always face your fears, find freedom. Also, don't forget to check out all the resources that you can glow forward on fire with me below, and all of my free ascension tools that will help you accelerate your ascension process, and the links below. Okay? Much love to you. Many blessings. I'll see you next week. Namaste.